Welcome back to the Law Unscripted, where we talk about everything about the law and the legal system that you never knew,
never understood,
and no one ever told you. I'm Virginia Tehrani.
And I'm Chelsey Rogers.
We're with Tehrani Law LLC because you never need a lawyer
till you do.
Last episode of the season.
This feels unreal.
I know. We started in December.
Yeah.
You know, we wanted to do a podcast and we had a goal and an idea, but I don't know that we really thought we'd get here.
I don't know. It cracks me up because we would just have conversations like this in our office. And I was like, we should record these and look like now we're wrapping up our first season.
First season. I know. Episode 22. We thought it was 21, but it's actually episode 22 for the first season, which went from December 2022 into May 9th of 2023. So congrats, everybody. We are so thrilled that you have joined us on this journey. We will have a season 2. So as some announcements, we will have a season 2 that will be in the fall of 2023. And by the way, what we're going to talk about today, so that you do feel like you want to stay tuned, is last week we talked about what Chelsey thought was were her best and worst decisions of law school.
Yes.
As a recently graduating law student. And this week I'm going to talk about what I feel like were my best and worst decisions in law school from 17 years ago.
I'm excited because mine is still fresh, and I think maybe my opinions are changed, but you've had like a lot of time to sort of, you've had your career and you get to look back and say.
Actually, I think it's 18 years.
Is it?
Because I took the bar 17 and a half years ago. So it's 18 years since I graduated law school.
I just feel like that has to be fake, Virginia. Like in my head, we're the same age.
So I know. And in my, physically, I look like I'm 18. Really? Not like I've had 18 years of experience.
Right.
So it really is uncomfortable and a problem. But I get it.
Yeah, like it trips me out because I'm like, Virginia's like 2, like in my brain, I'm like, it's just like 2 years older than me. And it's like, no, she's not.
I'm over a decade older than you.
I feel like time is fake. Time is fake.
It doesn't make any sense. But we are going to talk about time and looking back 18 years later. What do I think were my best and worst decisions?
Absolutely.
I'm going to tell a couple of stories. You're going to hear some more personal things about me, as well as for any student who is looking to go into law school or who already is in law school. Fun to compare to see kind of what it's like. And for those of you who never did go to law school or never want to, good for you.
Honestly, snaps for you.
Listen to this and wow, thank goodness I didn't do that. Or isn't that interesting because I never knew. Because law school isn't talked about a lot for, non-lawyers. So what is it really like? What do we do?
And I think people aren't honest. And that's something I really appreciate about Virginia is because a lot of attorneys are not willing to be honest about their experience in the legal field. And you're a woman in the legal field. You're a woman and obviously still a woman in law school, but you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Those experiences are different. And a lot of people will just be like, it was fine and kind of gloss over it. But I feel like you're very real about the good, the bad, the ugly. So I think it is a valuable insight.
Yeah, so we'll see. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We are going to take a break between our first season and our second season because we are going into bar exam preparation for Chelsey. So she's going to be studying for the bar this year. And what we're going to do is we're going to walk with her. So we're not going to drop out of sight. We're still going to be available. Check us out, especially on TikTok through the Law Unscripted and even under Tehrani Law LLC. There are different Tehrani laws that are not. So I'm
Look for
Tehrani
the
Law
purple
LLC.
logo.
Purple. Yes, thank you. But we're going to follow Chelsey's journey online, especially through TikTok, Instagram, that sort of thing. So stay tuned for our journey. Our website is supposed to be officially up and live as of May 9th when you see this episode.
Yay.
So that'll be www.thelawunscripted.com. Through there, you can catch up with our free resources, including our other podcast, The Legal Weekly Wine, which will have a summer session where we talk about the hottest legal topics of the week. we're going to do a summer session, especially an 8-week session, because of all of the Supreme Court decisions coming
Absolutely.
out. So stay tuned for that. Chelsey's going to make a guest appearance or two, but we're still going to keep in touch with that one. And Chelsey's going to take the Quimby bar preparation program. We're an affiliate with them. We chose Quimby for Chelsey for law exam preparation for all of the things that they had to offer. We have joined them as an affiliate.
Absolutely.
So if you want to follow along with us as we take the bar for Chelsey or with Chelsey, or she takes whatever.
Take it for me. Go ahead.
Follow the link. We're going to put a link in the description for the audio and the video podcast so that you can follow that. And if you choose to do the Quimby Bar Prep program, you can get a discount through the affiliate link. And then follow us along. You don't have to take Quimby, though, to follow us. We are going to be doing a supplemental program where we're going to offer everything a la carte or in groups and bundles, where if you just need a little bit of help with torts or just need a little bit of help with property, you can pick and choose those subjects that we're going to do something a little bit like this, where we're going to have videos where we walk through the bar with Chelsey through some of the subjects that she's struggling with. And then I'll offer some lectures, and we're going to do some group study sessions.
Yeah, so come along, join me. I'm sure it'll be an interesting process, tears, crying. But
she's going to show it all, which I appreciate.
Yeah, it is going to be what it is, and I would love to have people following us along.
Give us some love, especially Chelsey. This is a hard time. It's a good thing. She's graduating, which is fantastic. But the bar's a hard thing. It really is. So we could use some extra love for Chelsey. Join us. Please follow us. Follow her. Give her that encouragement, that support, so that we can get her through the summer. We're going to go with her to the bar so you can follow along.
We're going to vlog it, guys. It's going to be I'm excited. Look, because we're just going to keep it real. I think it'll be good.
And that's what we are, is real. So we're going to talk about what I think now my best and worst decisions were in law school.
I'm so excited to talk about this because I feel like, again, mine is still fresh. So I think my thoughts are not as clear. But you've had sort of time and space to reflect. You've worked in the legal field. And so you can say, oh, this has served me well. This didn't. Okay. Do you want to do best or worst first?
You choose.
Okay. What did you think were your worst choices in law school?
Okay. These are so easy for me.
Oh, really?
So here's the sad thing.
Yeah.
Even 18 years later, I have very strong opinions about what the worst decisions were that I made.
Okay. But I also feel like you're critical of yourself. So I'm going to let myself be the judge here. Okay.
I am super critical. Yes. So you talked last week about that one of your best decisions was getting off of the journal, the law review journal.
Yeah.
So we talked about how law schools have different journals that people publish on, and you can write on or you can grade onto these journals, but it's seen as an elite thing in the law schools.
It's like a resume booster.
Especially if you want to go into big law, into corporate law.
Absolutely. Wall
Street law, that sort of thing. The big law firms, they're really crucial to a lot of people to get into. One of my worst decisions was to be on a journal.
Really?
It was. I was so afraid of missing out.
Yeah.
That I got pressured by other people that you had to.
Yeah. That
this was something you had to do.
I mean, that's the ethos around it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's such peer pressure of even the career services is like, well, if you want to get a good job, you have to have a journal.
Yes.
Right? People are looking for you to be on a journal, and they're looking for you to be on the higher journals.
Yes.
So I spent the write-on. I actually called my dad. I talked to my boyfriend. Yeah. I was like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to. And bless his heart, my dad was trying. He didn't know.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, you should.
Yeah.
Everything that we knew, you should do it. My boyfriend was already on law review. He was a third year who was graduating and going to Wall Street, right? Like he was going to go work on Wall Street. So he's like, of course you do a journal. So I wrote on to the law review.
Which means she was really good, okay? Because that's how they do it. Like the best of the best, right on to the law review, and it kind of cycles down from there.
So I got on to the law review.
Which is a huge deal.
It was
you
a huge
staffer.
deal. It was a huge deal. I was like, wow, okay, so I made it.
Yep.
So I have to stay on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I did. I did stay on it. I even got onto the editorial board.
Really?
And I swear it was one of the worst decisions, not only that I made in law school, but in my life, I feel like.
Interesting.
I hated it.
Yeah.
It served a purpose.
Yes.
There was nothing about the journal that I hated.
Yeah.
I didn't like what I had to do. It was so much.
Yeah.
And I divided my focus so poorly.
Yeah.
Where in the end, I didn't need it.
Yeah.
For the things that I wanted to do and that I ended up doing after law school, I didn't need it.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted it. Nobody cared. I didn't go to Wall Street. I didn't go to a big firm. So in the end, it was a nice thing on my resume that still kind of hangs out on my resume for certain things. But nobody asks me in a courtroom, were you on law review?
Right.
No client ever calls up and says, were you on law review?
Yeah.
Nobody.
So I have a question about that. Different schools have different vibes, and that's kind of like well known. At William and Mary, was it a big law focused law school?
It was.
Okay.
It really was. At least when I was there. I don't know what it is now, but it was very big law focused, where most of our students got jobs in the New York area or the DC area.
Which
that
makes
was
sense.
The primary focus.
Okay. So that probably contributed to the pressure. I think
did.
There was at least enough of an influence at American that was public service oriented that was there. But I can't imagine being in a school like that's focused on big law because, right, how do you quit the journal then?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel like I could.
Yeah.
So that's the first one. And it goes into the second one is we didn't have FOMO at the time. That's a new word, right? But if there is something that could describe me in law school, it was FOMO.
Yeah.
I was afraid of not doing something that I needed.
Yeah.
Like, what if I needed that? What if that was the one key that an employer wanted and I didn't have it?
Yeah.
So I did everything. Absolutely everything, just like you.
Yeah.
And you were talking about it last week. And in some ways, I'm really glad about it. I'm like, wow, I did everything.
Yeah.
And I liked a lot of the things that I did. But looking back, I would absolutely make different decisions. Okay. I chose to be on law review, which was a job in and of itself.
Truly,
like, you did not have enough time in the week.
People are doing 35 to 40 hours
just
of law review out. Like, I mean, and this is not at William and Mary. This is at American. And that's what the hours they're pulling if they're on the editorial board, which to me was asinine, right? Like,
yeah. So, and it works for some people. If you want to go into New York law, if you want to be a big firm in DC, it really is necessary.
They will ask, right?
They will ask. They do want to know. You do need to be on it. But for my trajectory, as I was figuring it out, I wanted to be in a courtroom.
Yeah.
I went to law school to be a trial attorney.
Yeah.
That's why I went.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got lost in what people were telling me I should do versus what I knew I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So I did law review, moot court, and trial team, right?
Which I don't think I can express enough how truly wild that is. Now, I was someone who did everything, especially in undergrad.
You did it too.
But like that, they don't even allow you to do that.
Right.
At American and maybe, other places they do, but like you can only be on one of the competition teams and one journal. So you can't be on two journals for good reason. So like the most you could do would be law review and mock trial or law review and moot court, but you can't do more because of this.
Yeah, I think it's people like me that they can't anymore. And honestly, you shouldn't, because I was on all three teams.
Oh my God.
So I did all the 1L competitions.
Yeah.
So I did the trial team where I got into the trial team first year.
Yeah.
Okay. And stayed all 3 years. The first year I did the internal moot court competition and I placed second. And then the next year I wrote onto the journal, and then I tried out for the moot court competition. I placed first in the internal.
Oh my gosh.
And then I was on a competitive team.
Yeah.
So my third year
I don't know how you did that, honestly.
I really about had a nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
And in talking about being very honest, my second year I had what I would call as a mini nervous breakdown.
Yeah.
My second semester of my second year, I was so overwhelmed and it wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
I was then I was on the boards of all of them. Okay. This is ridiculous.
That is
I
like
became
another
the president of the trial team. I was on the board of the moot court team and I was on the board of law review. I went to national competitions
for all of those.
For trial team, for moot court. We didn't have a national competition. It was weird.
Yeah.
The one that I went to. But I was doing all of those competitions while trying to study for my subjects. My grades went down. I mean, it was for what I ended up doing with my life and what I knew I wanted to do, even though I never would have said, I'm going to be a personal injury attorney. I never knew that, but I did know I wanted to be a trial attorney, and that is what I'm doing. Yeah. That is what I do.
That is what you
Whatever
do.
law you call me, whatever subject you call me, that is what I do. That's what I knew I wanted to do. So having done everything, I caused myself so much stress and so much anxiety that didn't need to be.
I think that's really common, though. I think that everybody I know in law school has had that experience because it is a pressure cooker. You take people who are self-selecting, essentially type A people, who are self-selecting into law school. You have your first year on a curve, which means if there's 100 questions and you answer 50 of them in a normal scenario, you get a 50 out of 100.
Right.
But law school's not like that. There is no 100 at the end. It's like, well, Susie got 51, so she gets the A. You got 50, A minus, so sorry. So it puts all these type A people at competition with each other. And then you have these overhead forces saying things like, well, you need to make all these teams. You need to make the journal. All of that together. And it is a recipe for people to lose their minds.
It was everything I should do.
Yes.
And I listened to all of it. Yeah. I was so afraid that there was something I should do that I wasn't doing.
Yeah.
And I did it all. And I mean, that's the main things. And then I could go on about all the other things, but those are the big things. And if I could have just chosen one.
Yeah.
If I just did trial team, that's all I needed.
Perfect.
For me.
Yeah.
And like you were saying last week, guys, go back to last week's one because Chelsey talked about her law school and how her experience has been as far as what she thought she did well at, what the worst decision she felt like she made. Is you said you knew yourself. You went in knowing yourself.
Yeah.
I went in knowing that I wanted to do trial work, but I didn't know myself.
Right.
And I went in with the idea that I had to be someone.
Yeah.
I had to be someone. I had to be the best of everything and everyone. And I was going to compete against all of you.
And prove it.
To prove it. And I didn't make some friends, right? Because it was a competition. And I wish somebody had said to me, Virginia, you don't have to do this competition.
Right.
You don't have to be number one at this to be someone.
And to be here and belong here. Yeah.
And I didn't know myself well enough. I was trying to be someone that other people liked and other people respected or revered or feared. I didn't care.
Yeah.
I wanted, it's like New York, I'm going to go be somebody.
Right.
And I didn't realize, and sometimes, not even till years later, that I would be somebody without that extra award or without that extra A or whatever it was.
Right. The sort of cost benefit of the extra team or the extra A on was not worth it for sort of the cost. Okay. Well, what do you think your best decisions were?
So in that vein, I do think the trial team was one of my best decisions. So I don't agree that I should have done all of them, but I do like the trial team. I thought that was an extremely good decision for me because I did want to do trial work and I have done trial work.
Yeah.
So to be on that team.
Yeah. I've never met anyone who knows the rules of evidence as well as you do. No, it's not even a joke. It is so serious because, and you credit that a lot of the times just sort of your experience on the trial team, but I think it makes you incredibly good at trial work, and you just sort of know them. Like you can, I feel like this is the one I know the concepts, but you know, you can be like, oh, this is rule, 802, or this is whatever. And I think that it is very impressive to me.
Yeah, it was good. So I did undergraduate mock trial too. So I had 4 years of undergraduate mock trial with the American Mock Trial Association, AMTA. And then I did trial team in law school. Yeah. And those 7 years I felt like gave me an edge to feeling comfortable when I went out into the world, that I felt like I knew enough about how to really practice that, okay, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to make it. I at least know how to address a judge. I at least am comfortable in the basic courtroom setup, the basic layout, the basic questions, the basic argument, that I do feel like those 7 years gave me 7 years of experience that other new lawyers didn't have.
Yes.
And I was able to make some really poor decisions of how to do trials while I was practicing. Right. In fake court, I got to make those decisions. I got to try those crazy things so that I could work through a lot of bumps.
Yeah.
And I felt like I had a much better take when I got out from having done that.
I think that makes a lot of sense. Anytime I've seen you in court, and we also had like an undergrad intern with us this past summer.
We did. Oh my God, I love her.
And she said it too. It was one of the interesting comments she made. We were watching you at a trial. It was kind of a short one. Like it was not anything long or nothing particularly crazy happened. But she commented on the way that because you had these things that seemed so almost, you didn't have to think about them. And there's a word for it and I cannot think of it at the moment. It'll come to me. Like the basic steps of like showing evidence, introducing things, because you'd done them so many times, you weren't even thinking about it, that it just gave you a lot more polish. And that's what she was asking, because the other attorney, to be clear, was not a newbie attorney.
Right.
She was doing everything fine. I was watching, but the intern was like, Virginia just has a different polish. And I was like, yeah, it's because this stuff she, like you said, you just have, before you even started practicing, had like, almost a decade of experience doing it. And it just becomes like, what is the word I'm looking for?
Innate.
Second nature.
Yeah,
yes.
second nature.
That was, innate. Both of those work. She clearly was having to think about each step, but you were not. And so you're focusing on the argument. You're focusing on what the witness is saying. And it definitely makes a difference. It's noticeable.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's very kind.
I mean it.
I appreciate it. I like it. I feel like it's a strength of mine, but I had so much practice and I will never regret that.
I think ever. I think as many practical things as people can do. Is there another one you're like, oh, that was a great decision?
Yes. Okay. I have one more.
I'm excited.
I was very interested in trial law, clearly, but also in criminal law.
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of criminal law, right? So I've done a lot of criminal law. And I had 2 professors in law school that seemed as like divine influence. I don't care if you believe it or not, but it seemed like divine influence that those 2 particular professors were at my law school at my years and could help me. I had one, Frederick Lederer, who was in the trial portion. He was doing technology and the law and trial advocacy and evidence. And he was that professor for me. And then Paul Marcus, who just recently retired, he did the criminal law portion.
Okay.
And I got to do an internship with Professor Marcus for 2 years.
Yeah.
Where I got to work hand in hand with him for 2 years, learning criminal law, writing for him, writing articles for him, researching for him, learning under his tutelage. And for Frederick Lederer to go through practice trials, to go through practice depositions, to learn the new technology that was coming out in the legal field at the time. We had the most advanced trial courtroom in the nation at the time. Amazing. And for me to have found them, for them to have even been like, okay, we'll take you on, Virginia, is a gift. It was a gift to me.
Love that.
But I think choosing those particular areas and at least knowing myself there, of those are the 2 places I want to go.
I'm interested in.
That I latched on and said, I need that information. And I went after it and they were able to accommodate me is one of the best decisions I've ever had.
Oh, I love that.
So that's my law school career.
I feel like I feel like your law school career served you well.
Likewise, my friend.
Yeah. Okay, if you could go back pre-law school, would you go to law school again?
I would.
Okay.
I actually would go to law school again. I would change decisions from law school, but I would go to law school again.
Another fun one. I'm just throwing questions at her now. Would you go to the same law school?
Yes.
Okay, I love that.
Yes, I would. I loved William and Mary. For me, it really was the right place and the right fit. I have struggled at times with one other school.
Yeah.
Where I struggled between the University of Tennessee School of Law in Knoxville and William and Mary. Tennessee was where I was, right? I grew up there. I knew it. I got great scholarship opportunity there. And I declined it. And there have been years where I'm like, maybe I should have gone to UT.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I went to William and Mary, and I would do it again.
I think that's awesome. I love that.
So that wraps us up. I think the biggest thing that you have to offer that has been the most encouraging to me is to know yourself. And that has really served you well and will continue to serve you well in the future and in this summer.
Let's hope so. Look.
So I'm so super proud of you and all that you've done. I'm really glad that you've been on this podcast with me.
Look, this is the best idea we've ever had, okay?
It really is. This really has been wonderful.
I can't believe it's over. I mean, the season, it's not over,
right?
But
yeah, I mean, we've been doing so many. It's like, okay, well, here's the Tuesday podcast and we better get ready. But yeah, for this season, it's over, everybody.
And they're going to ramp up for the summer?
We are. Join us for the summer, at least on social media. And if you're a law student, join us for law preparation through the supplemental course. We are so excited about it. We will be back on this podcast through Podbean on all your social or all your audio platforms, as well as through YouTube. You can still watch our prior episodes on this season. They're not going away. And I think that they're still extremely useful based on the topics that we had.
I think so.
Like us, even though we're going off on this season, like us, comment, subscribe. Yeah. That way you can pick us back up when we come back. You can see our other episodes. You can pick up on Chelsey's journey through the bar through this summer. So we're so grateful for you listening and watching. We look forward to seeing you this fall. Drop us some comments. Send an email. We've got those in the links as well. But follow us, and we will see you again in fall of 2023.
Hopefully I will have passed the bar by then.
Well, we're going to find out. It's not going to be till like October that you find out. So we're going to start without knowing whether you've passed.
Oh, I hate that. But it's okay.
You'll at least have finished the bar.
I'll have taken it.
And we're going to see you then.
Guess that was wrapping up season 1.
That's it. Thank you, everybody. I'm Virginia Tehrani.
And I'm Chelsey Rogers.
We are with Tehrani Law LLC, because you never need a lawyer
till you do.